mentioned to you that it's an absolute honor and privilege to be sitting here next to you, and I want to learn from your experience. And you mentioned that your early education was in Kolkata, and English literature was your chosen subject, and you were the chairperson of the biggest bank in the country, and now you're the CEO and chairperson of a very large technology sort of a provider. What are some of the leadership lessons that you would like to share with me?
Okay, and I will ask you the same, because you've seen the transformation of a company from a full service to a niche kind of service company. As far as I am concerned, I think there are 3 or 4 things that I always ask people to take as takeaways. One is you have to be a lifelong learner. There is no getting away from it. Okay, and in fact, we just did a week's course in Wharton, sponsored by our company, by Salesforce. And initially, I was very loath to go to it, because you can understand, I haven't sat in a classroom for a very long time as a student. Most of the time I'm actually giving the gyan, so I'm not there as a student. And I was a little apprehensive that I'd be jet lagged and sitting in a classroom, whether I'll fall asleep and things like that. But believe me, I enjoyed myself these 7 days, really enjoyed myself. The level of pedagogy is so good, and they give you problems that really sort of it stretches your abilities, it stretches your imagination, because there is always a trick to the whole thing. Nothing is very straight. It's not on the surface. You've got to realize what that trick is, and then tweak it accordingly. And I found it to be very energizing. And I was just thinking that if only I could go back to the classroom now for a year instead of just for 7 days, that would be great. But the thing is, you really need to be a person who has internalized the art of unlearning, learning, relearning. You have to internalize it. There is no other way. And if you constantly do that, then automatically things sort of fall in place, because the world is changing very fast. And if you need to survive in it, you've got to change yourself. So I think the first one is the learning piece. The second one that I think is very important is to be grounded. And I find you very grounded, because see, if you're not grounded, what happens is you don't get the kind of feedback from the ground. As you go higher, you are in rarefied atmosphere. Okay, you're not really getting to see the problems at the field level, at the street level. Now, they will come to you only if they know that you won't snap off their head, or only if they know that you have an open door policy. Anybody can come and say anything. And even though it may be a little stupid sometimes, or it's something that's already known, if we can appreciate the fact that they have brought it to you, many a times is a big, it's a big boost in the fact that you understand then that there are all these challenges. I remember, again, very small story quickly, that when I first became chair of SBI, and there was I had started a cost containing exercise, because costs are in our power, right? At that point of time, the entire banking system was going through a lot, on account of NPAs, downturn in growth, everything, all of those problems were there. So in the cost cutting exercise, the first blog I wrote, internal blog for all my employees, was give me a few ideas as to how we can cut costs. Okay, I wasn't expecting too many people to reach out and give me ideas, but a lot of people did. And one of the mails that I got, I still remember today, he said that yesterday late night I was returning from either the airport or the station or something, or the train station, and I found all our glow lights on, and this was at 12 midnight. Who's looking at these glow lights at 12 in the night? Why can we not turn off all the glow signs at 10 in the night? And actually we put that idea to action. We had timers so that all our glow signs would go off at 10. And not only that, we extended it to doing an energy audit. And I had promised the investor crowd that I would bring down these fixed expenses of electricity and all of that, which they had poo-pooed. They had said, what will you bring down over here? How can you bring it down? You won't believe the amount we brought it down by doing the energy audits. We found that people were having generators. A generator would cost 10,000 in one branch, and adjacent branch may be paying 30,000. Okay, so there was no standardization of those costs, no control over the amount of fuel that is being consumed there. We literally, brought down the energy costs within the organization by almost 20-25%. Okay, and that's a huge saving for an organization that big. So the fact is, if we are able to remain grounded and take suggestions, like you have so many brains, why not allow all of them to work for you? Instead of thinking you have all the solutions, that's one brain. It can never have all the solutions. So, learning always, keeping your door open and remaining grounded and getting people to say as much as you can. And the third thing I think, which I had to do, because as a public sector, I couldn't hire and fire. Once people got on board, I had to keep them there. So how do you ensure you put the round pegs in the round hole and the square pegs in the square hole, so that you don't have to have people who are not productive. So all of these three things, and last but not least, have a sense of humor, which I think is very, very important, because in tense situations, we are always working in situations which takes a lot out of us. If you are not able to laugh and joke a little and sort of lighten the situation, becomes very difficult. So this is an anonymous quote that I remember, I don't know who said it, that humor is the lubricant of life. And I remembered that very well. I've really internalized it. I always try to see the humor in a situation. Just recently in the Wharton course, in fact, they were saying there is something called a stupid mount, means where people, on account of the fact that they're not looking at the entire data, they say something which is stupid. So one of my leaders was saying, so now next time I put my foot in my mouth, I'll be there. So I said, yeah, you can be there, but remember, you are not allowed to remain there. So you better become different. So anyway, just have that little sense of humor to ensure that, we are taking everybody along. But tell me, you also changed your business model quite a lot. And in very, very challenging situation, if I may say so, the kind of competition that was there in the market. How did you go about doing that?
No, so firstly, ma'am, I have had the absolute privilege of working for the Tata Group for a long time now. And as you're aware, it's a highly value sort of driven group where business growth is obviously the objective, but bulk of the gains of that business growth go into community building. And I'll say that values in the Tata Group are not just something that you speak about. You see them in play every day, whether it is responsibility, accountability, a pioneering spirit, the fact that there is no compromise on ethics. So I've been lucky to sort of have that kind of experience. And again, speaking to the point of, the company has been through a difficult journey. And as you come out of a difficult experience, your mind is not in the right place. And we felt that within the organization as well. And to sort of prepare them to the challenges in front has been a fairly long journey. And I'll speak about a couple of things that, are important from a leadership point of view. I think there are multiple, factors that sort of constitute good leadership. I think the one or two things that I especially look out for or emphasize. And I think the first thing is about teamwork, right? And you will say it is commonsensical, it is elementary, but I would say that it's not widely prevalent, right? And I've played sport sort of all my life. And I would even say, maybe slightly controversially, that culturally, we are a people who look at or who recognize individual contributors and individual excellence more than a solid team performance. And for me, I think I've made it my business to really put teamwork on a pedestal. And obviously, to achieve that, you need to select the right team. You made the point of, and selecting not just for the explicit or the technical skills that one is supposed to have, but also for the temperament. How do you react to adversity? How do you react in a situation of ambiguity, right? that is important. So it is sort of, the second element is role clarity. You get the right skills, but you need to be very clear about the role that you expect, whether it is a team member in a sporting team or in business, that you expect the person to play. And the fact that, as we've had, you will have times which are really tough, which will really test you. You'll have, again, a sporting parallel where your forwards are not firing at all, right? And so what do you do as a defender? Say, okay, this is my job and I'm doing my job, or do you lend your shoulder where the team requires you, right? So you go beyond your call of duty. You need to have those skills, but to really the intent of saying that, okay, I will cover you. You're having a bad day. I think these are the elements that I really, really try and emphasize. And some of these things have allowed us to weather the difficult times. The second thing, again, out of experience, and I don't know whether you have that experience, most of the organizations that I've worked with, we try and we spend a disproportionate amount of time dwelling on what went wrong and how it will impact the future, rather than on fixing things, right? And I can't help giving you sport parallels because I'm absolute sports fan, and
you're a huge enthusiast,
exactly,
golf enthusiast.
Exactly, and I'll give you an example from sort of golf. See, golf is a game where you typically play 18 holes, and you end up playing anywhere between 70 to 90 shots in a typical round, right? And imagine you're on the first hole, you hit a tee shot, and for whatever reason, it is a bad shot, and you end up either behind a tree or in a bunker. And the thoughts that are coming to your head are, maybe I should have spent more time. I hurried the shot. I'm in a deep problem now. It is going to affect my score and all. And the fact of the matter is that none of these are controllables now. You've already played the shot. And the future, nobody can guarantee. The only thing that you can control is play the next shot better. Right? And there is a famous sort of quote or saying in golf that the most important shot that you play in golf, I would say even in life, is the shot that you play next. Right? Because that's the one that you can control. And if you play it well, success may sort of be there. So I have that kind of an action bias. And I try to look out for action bias in people, and that's how I build a team where, yes, it is very, very important to learn from your mistakes, but it is perhaps more important to fix them. And fixing happens when you do things, right? Right. So I think those are possibly the two traits or two things that I've learned from my experience, both on the field of sports and in business, and I try and emphasize those.
Wonderful learnings, absolutely, Harjit, and it's been a pleasure talking to you. You are, well-known leader in your own right, and it's always great to, compare notes with somebody like you. So thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am. And like I said, absolute privilege, to sort of learn from your sort of experience, and I've thoroughly enjoyed it. And thank you so much.
Thank you.